fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, fuck, fuckity fuck.
Sorry, folks.
That's great. Look at that.
That's perfect, isn't it?
Yep.
I don't really want to do it much.
You sure?
I want them to see you.
Yeah.
I'm just loitering.
You're loitering. All right. So, shall I start?
Yes.
Shall I start? Good evening, everyone. I tell you what, that was a heck of a set. I really enjoyed that. It was quite a strange experience being sat downstairs listening to it on headphones, and then having a song dedicated to me. The last time that happened was probably in about 1969. It was at that Ed Stewart show on Radio 1, and it was nothing as kind of cool as the song you played there. So thanks for that, Matt. So yeah, I'm Stephen Carley, and I am an artist, a visual artist. But as you're going to see, that kind of covers a lot of different things. So I've chosen sets of work which represent what I do as a visual artist, what I call my creative practice. So the picture you can see at the moment is a young me, because I thought that I listened to what Chris said the last time, and he gave a little kind of intro thing, so I thought I'd do that. Tell people a little bit about how I got to be here in Sheffield and things like that. So this is me at the age of about 21, looking all kind of serious and intense and everything, being an artist with my little pork pie hat on, and I still do that thing with my fingers on my chin. Everybody who knows me knows that's the case. It's a sort of insecurity mode, I think, that one. So this was taken in Cheltenham, where I went to art school, and I was there for 3 years, and after that I went to London, to Chelsea to do a master's, and then I was sent up northeast. I got a job as a kind of part lecturer, part kind of postgraduate student, and I was in Sunderland for 2 years, and then I moved down to Darlington, where I worked as an artist in residence at the Art Centre, which was incredible. And I always say that was my proper art education, because what I did there was working with people who were coming out of long stay institutions, a big Victorian asylum at a place called Newton Aycliffe. And that taught me a huge amount about what creativity is and what it means. And it also kind of quite shockingly told me that a lot of my art school experience was the antithesis of that. So I learnt a lot. I grew up in the Fens. Spent most of my childhood up to the age of 18 in Lincolnshire. So a lot of my early experience was either potatoes or aeroplanes. And I came to Sheffield in late 1988, and I've been here ever since, as an artist, as a lecturer, as a teacher, sometimes as a long distance runner. So yeah, I've done all those things, and let's look at a few of the next slides. So do you want to push buttons, or
as you like?
Yeah. So I just thought people would like to see my studio, where it is at the moment. So this is shots inside my studio, which is in Mearsbrook in Sheffield. And actually, if you're around in Sheffield, you can come and visit me this weekend, because there's a thing called Open Up, where you can come and visit me in my studio. So jump on that openupsheffield.co.uk website and have a look. Should we have a look at the next?
I posted it on the Lockdown Sieben group.
He's brilliant, isn't he? Should we have a look at the next one?
Yeah.
So these are just little slides of the studio. Yeah. There's a picture on the left there of me when I was about 7, probably, in my lovely ironed shorts and elastic tie. You know, the ones you just did that with. You know the proper ties. Yeah. Next one, yeah. And another shot of the studio. So we're going to move on to some work now. So I'm going to show you a little bit of film for a few seconds now, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Go for it. So this is a body of work that's called The Drift, and this is really about kind of me and the city, and me with my camera and collecting images. I use 35mm cameras a lot. It's a black and white film and colour slide film, and I process my own stuff in the darkroom and some digital imagery as well. And when I'm working with moving image like this, I'm doing quite odd things, like I'm refilming strips of negative film through a light box and that. So it's quite lo-fi, it's quite unconventional and a bit idiosyncratic, the process. All of the sounds are either field recordings, so sounds that I record in and around the city, but Sheffield being what it is, quite a lot of those sounds sound like they're from outside of the city. So there's bird song and there's rivers, but that's because Sheffield is a particularly unique place because of the way that the countryside comes right into the centre of the city almost. And there is a lot of other samples in there from old bits of vinyl, 78s, and there's also percussive and bass samples that I make myself in the studio. Should we have a look at some of the still images, Matt?
Yeah.
So The Drift, when I'm working with my camera, is a lot of double exposed photographs. So this is where I run the film twice through the camera, and all of these places are kind of separate in terms of where they are. So one might be a very, very kind of rural part, what looks like a rural part of Sheffield. So for instance, the General Cemetery, which is literally just across the way from where we are now. And then I'll go into the city centre and I'll look at places that are being either demolished or redeveloped. So should we move on? Yeah. And here are a few stills. Which one is it, Matt? Is it the down button?
Down one, yeah.
A few stills here of images, and some of them are quite abstract. They kind of don't look like pictures of a city or anything. Some of these are quite small details and reflections and refracted images and things shot at odd angles and half frames and stuff like that. So another little bit of film to play. Could we play that one? Is it? Yeah. So, yeah, that is me dancing around naked with double exposed images of the city projected across my body and then animated and inverted. So, yeah, that's really me being kind of part of this whole thing, me and the city kind of together, some kind of crazy choreography. So, if we move on again, Matt, I'm going to look at drawing. That old stable, that thing that artists do a lot of. And I do a lot of drawing. And my drawing is, again, as you can see, there's a big connection here between this and some of the photographs that you've just seen in terms of shapes and angles. These look like architectural structures almost. This particular drawing is enormous. It's 3 and a bit meters across, so it's ridiculously big, and it was made specially for a show in Derby a few years ago, which was called Finding Lines. It was a show all about drawing. Yeah, the cat's come to join us. That's great.
Hey, Monts.
You're right, Monty. Yeah. Should we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the drawings they're big when they're like this. They're lively. They're kind of quite rule breaking as well. So I'm really interested in marks. I'm really interested in surfaces and textures. I'm really interested in unconventional combinations of things. So there's all kinds of stuff in here. There's sandpaper. There's leftover bits of photographic processes. There's even things that I kind of find. So there's a kind of found element collage thing going on as well. And that I love that big gesture at the bottom. It's quite kind of exciting. Yeah, the next one. This is a good one. So yeah, drawings like this. Again, they look like urban landscapes, and that's kind of probably what they are. And again, they're really large, and again, they're quite heavily collaged, quite textural kind of pieces of work. And yet these are kind of at the centre of everything I do as an artist. They kind of inform a lot of my ideas in sound, in film, in photography, in painting, which we're going to look at in a bit, and also in terms of some of the stuff I do, which is always going to use that terribly pretentious term, performance art. But I hope it will make people laugh when they see that. Yeah. So let's look at the next one. The next one's a little bit of video we can play because it's got no sound and I can talk over it.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
So I just thought I'd mix it up a bit. You know what I mean? So yeah, go for it. So this is a drawing. I was thinking about what drawing was, and I like breaking rules. I like defying the kind of expected norms of what you might do as an artist if somebody called something a drawing. So this was a static camera, and I was thinking of different ways of just thinking about how lines operate, because fundamentally a drawing is made up of lines. So we've got just some very strong sort of straight lines here created with pieces of wood and a shadow dropped behind them, so you get a sense of depth. Ping pong balls that are painted black that I'm just dropping and bouncing around. A box of leads with minus their wood, so this was prior to them becoming pencils. A friend of mine gave me about 500 of these things, so I thought I could do something with them. Yeah, they were good. Yeah. Should we move on? Yeah. And yeah, back to another drawing. So if we quickly roll through these next ones for a few seconds on each one. So again, these are just more aspects of drawing. So this is drawing in the darkroom. So a photogram process. So again, working with light here, but the same kind of principles involved. Rule breaking and taking it to this extreme where I actually took the marks out from the drawing and put them on shelves. And I called this a taxonomy of marks, so it's like a library of marks, and I invited people to the studio. I hope some of those people are watching tonight, and they were able to take the marks off the shelf and put it on another shelf and make their own drawing, which I kind of thought was very democratic of me to do. But yeah, it's got to this kind of point here, and this is a huge thing as well. This is 3 meters across, and it's taller than me. I can only just reach the top shelf.
Shall I go back through those again?
Yeah, go quickly from that one, just so we can kind of see. Yeah, so just to sum up kind of some of those ideas about drawing. And these pieces actually have been in shows up and down the country. This one was in the Royal West of England Academy back in 2019. And then the next 3, they've been in shows with a group called the London Group that I'm a member of, and we exhibit in London quite a lot, but also elsewhere. And then the taxonomy of marks was actually just a studio-based thing, which I do quite a lot. A bit like yourself, you know, you're kind of working in your own space. So that's kind of drawing as a thing. I think there's one more actually, which I think probably breaks all the rules of drawing. Yeah. So this is drawing, but this is all the leftover things that are in a big box, and I got them all out. And I just started to hang them up and fold them and twist them and shine lights on them and kind of made drawings that I could then photograph. So they kind of exist temporarily. So they're no longer there. This is all that remains of them. They were just very playful, you know, just experiments really. So the next thing I want to look at is, I think this is a silent piece. We can play this as well. Yeah. Yeah, go for it. Yeah. So, this is drawing as well, actually. This is the first bit of the performance art stuff, Matt. So, I got two pieces of paper. One was a black piece of paper and I painted a white line on it. And one was a white piece of paper and I painted a black line on it. And then I just started to think of different ways for me to interact with this 10-meter line. So there's another of these films too, but I quite like this one, where I'm climbing up and down the ladder and I'm rolling it over my shoulder and it's kind of doing a Taylor stretch with it like this and rolling it in. And of course I'm doing things like playing the film backwards and stuff. But again, it's playful, it's tongue in cheek, but it's actually challenging the notions of, well, what is this thing called drawing, you know? So yeah. So that's the last of the drawing bits. The next bit I think is quite funny. So, right, so this is another strand of what I do, which is I've got these alter egos. This is only 4 of them. You're going to see a lot more of them in a minute. There's a film I'll play you. So on the left is a guy called the Baghead Man. This is a tribute to my son Billy, really, because this was his nickname when he was a kid. Well, actually, it was a nickname given to him by the girl across the street. She used to come across and bang on the window, and she used to say, "Hey, Baghead, are you coming out to play?" Which he never wanted to do. So anyway, I like this character. You can't see his eyes really; you can just see the grimace through the hole I've cut in the bag. And of course, in the centre left there is a ghost. He's a very scary ghost. And then centre right is the dunce. Yes, wearing his dunce's hat. And my favourite character on the right there is the clown. So I have my own clown makeup and a wig.
I played a concert in San Francisco with the support was a man with 2 paper, like American off-license kind of beer bags on his head with eyes cut out, and all he had was a harmonica which he put under the
brilliant
thing and 4 distortion pedals, and it was fucking amazing.
That's genius.
Actually,
yeah, that is genius.
I think he might have even been called Baghead.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to find him. Yeah.
Find him.
I think we should team up. Baghead 1 and 2. Would you like to see the bit of film now? Because this is called... Oh, God. The title comes up. It's basically all the alter egos, and what they're doing is they are auditioning for some make-believe program that I've kind of created in my head. Should we play it? Because it's self-explanatory. Yes. Agent Provocateur. It's got a good sound on it as well, this. Good sound. Oh, yeah.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Lift off.
Wise men say
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Lift off. Lift off. 30 minutes.
Okay, so I mean that goes on for some time, and all of the characters repeat the same series. I think there's about 10 or 11 different things they do, and they do them in different orders. So you kind of see the guy dropping his trousers at the same time as the guy praying, or the guy peeing in a bucket and things like that. And then the robot just dances all the time. The guy runs on the spot all the time. The ghost just haunts all the time, and the guy in the overalls just keeps sweeping up after something or other. Yeah, I mean there's I actually take a dump in this one, not a real dump. It's a very large lump of clay. So Catherine, my lovely wife, will tell you that I make incredibly good sculptural turds. So, so you said there were some questions, Matt.
Yes, there's a few things.
Oh, right, okay.
Jan in Braunschweig says good evening.
Good evening.
And he likes the audio. He likes it, and he likes the audio in particular.
Good.
Tristan, who's in Wales, says that this would sound fantastic in an old Sheffield foundry projected on a huge wall.
I like the sound of that. Is there any left, though?
Sandra, who's in Paris and is herself a photographer and an artist, says, love the photograms.
Oh, thank you very much, Sandra. I appreciate that.
And Jan comes back with, it reminds him of Nurse with Wound covers. Do you remember?
Oh, hello.
Nurse with Wound?
Yeah, I do.
I think I sat with a Ranos from Nurse with Wound cutting out bits of wallpaper to be the covers.
Wow. Wow.
Things.
That's an incredibly lovely comparison. Thank you for that.
So, yeah.
Okay. So we can
come more.
We can come back to some more of those, can't we? Yeah.
Come back to. I hope I didn't miss anything.
No.
But we'll come back to questions if anybody wants
absolutely.
to ask.
So anyway, this one goes on. As you can see, it's a kind of. It's definitely been inspired. Well, influenced is a better word, by the whole pandemic, lockdowns, and this thing we did where we all ended up using Zoom. And so quite a lot of work I made and have been making subsequently has been using that as a kind of context. So I quite like this, and the messaging up the side as well. It's quite aggressive but quite funny.
Do you know, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah. I think you sort of see it and then you look back because you get distracted by a guy peeing in a bucket or something. As you would. Yeah. Should we move on to some next ones? So another strand of what I do is where I work collaboratively with other people. And this particular collaboration was absolutely fantastic. It was with a curator called Andrea Hadley-Johnson, who at that time was in Derby, at the Derby Art Gallery. And this was a project called Can You Hear Me Now? So these images were kind of taken from this exhibition, where I made pieces of work working with text that visitors to the gallery provided. So I had a kind of short period of time to turn ideas around and put them into context, as it were. So that a lot of it was to do with finding the right vehicle for the particular message. This is my son here, a lot younger then, modelling with just the initial delusion. I think Matt's gone to the toilet. And there's a little montage of some of the particular pieces. Some of these are the test pieces, some of the pieces I actually made. So the mattress was actually a piece that was in the exhibition, and that was a response to some of the questions there. The times I was a complete twat. There was questions asked. People were given themes, if you like. So there was sadness, hate, love, apathy, things like this. The one at the top was me kind of playing around in the studio with ideas. That was actually something that somebody wrote. I'm so fucking sick of being so fucking reasonable, it fucking stinks like a piece of fucking shit. That's poetry, isn't it? It's fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, Can You Hear Me Now was a fantastic, wonderful project, and was in collaboration with Andrea and another artist called Anna Morby. And that piece on the right there is in my living room. Joy, making a difference without pissing people off. I think that's my mantra, actually. I like that. So, you know, I like to make a difference, but not necessarily just to piss people off.
Yeah.
Maybe just wind them up a bit. Okay. Is there any more questions, or shall I move on?
There's
Go on.
one from Jan who
Oh.
says, these double exposure photos you
Yep.
showed earlier.
Yep.
The question: these are analog film, are they?
Yes.
Things were more chaotic back then, as you normally at least could remember what was the general motif of.
Yeah. I think they were generally more, and are, because I mean I'm still doing it. The reason I do it, Jan, is because I don't know what's going to happen. It's absolutely to do with serendipity, that kind of happy accident, and I intentionally cross frame as well. So when I put the film back in the second time, I don't line it up, because I like half or quarter negs and things like that. So you get these really weird overlaps.
Beautiful grit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Random grit.
Yeah. So for those who are really interested in this, and I'm not a techie at all, I'm not going to pretend to be. I just use a really simple Pentax K1000 camera. I use really simple Ilford 125 film, black and white, and that does the job. It's great. And I've just worked out a really good way to underexpose and under bracket. So
Right.
yep.
Yeah, he says wonderful. The first frame, and it was kind of random with the second exposure thing. Yeah, things a lot easier, but more normal with digital. It's Jan's birthday, by the way.
Is it?
today, yeah.
Happy birthday, Jan. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's not. Yeah. This is it, because it's mirrored, isn't it? It's mirror image. Yeah. Shall I push the button here?
Yeah.
We'll move on.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got one image here which I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact I'm a teacher, and I'm an art teacher and a photography teacher. But anybody who's watching and listening know that I'm not exactly the most conventional teacher. I tend to approach things like an artist would. So my students, I think, really respond to that. I don't think I've had any or many who've not. And if they have, they've done it in a valid way, you know?
Best way to be.
Yeah. So I wanted to show this particular piece because this is something I'm very proud of. And it's a collaborative piece I did with these 12 students. And this was done as a memorial of the 100th anniversary of the armistice. So the school I teach at in Sheffield is called King Edward VII School, and it's a really old school. It's got a really incredible history. And at the time of the First World War, when it started, the school had a battalion. I mean, that sounds bizarre, doesn't it? Because these were 16, 17, 18-year-old boys. And so the head teacher asked me, would I do something? And I said, just give me some time, I'll think about something. And I talked to the school's archivist, a man called John Cornwall, and he said, I've got these photographs of the boys, but I mean, they don't look like boys, do they? They kind of look like old men, some of them, but some of them were only 17 and 18. And he said that all of these were in the battalion, and they all went as part of the Sheffield contingent, and they were called the Pals.
Yes.
Yeah. And they never came back. They all died in, I think it was the Somme. And so I kind of worked this idea out that I got these images printed out at this size, and I asked my students if they'd be interested in collaborating. I set the context for it. I says, look, I'm just going to ask you to pose with one of these photographs, and I want you to choose the one you identify the most with, which was fascinating. That the girl on the top row, second in from the left-hand side, she picked the guy who's wearing a kind of leather flight jacket, and she really identified with that. He looked like a bit more of a rascal, a bit more of a 1914 punk or something. And then I just asked them to stand fairly unemotionally, hold this picture. And these images are life-size at the moment in the school. They go down a whole glass corridor. Yeah, I'm really proud of this, and I'm really proud of the work I do at that school and my teaching. It kind of makes me the artist and the person I am, because I'm constantly collaborating with people and sharing creative ideas. So I want to do that. Yeah.
Got a question from Tristan.
Okay.
Craven faults. He asks if you've worked with.
I haven't worked with them, but that might be interesting to do. Oh, that's an interesting
Sorry,
question.
Tristan, I can't find the exact question now. Yeah, have you done any work? Another Sheffield sound artist.
No, I haven't, but I will investigate.
He thinks you'd work well together. Yeah.
Thanks
So
for that
Craven
recommendation.
Folks,
This
yeah,
is good, isn't it?
Brilliant.
It's like a giant networking session.
Oh,
isn't it?
they're fabulous.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
So what have I got next? Oh, right, okay. So what we're going to look at now is a series of stuff that I call bad choreography. Now, there are some people listening to this. So Charlotte's one of them, and her husband Gary, and my Mrs. Catherine, who know what an incredible dancer I am, and that I have this uncanny ability to interpret every single instrument in a band at the same time in a song. And some people have said it looks a bit like Max Wall with St Vitus Dance, but I don't think that's true. I think it's beautiful. Anyway, this is a little bit of film which introduces bad choreo. There's some sound to it, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. No.
Should we pause it there? So, so yeah, he's back again, the clown. I was kind of interested in all of this bad choreography stuff. I'm interested in the ludicrous, the bizarre, the stupid, the things which are just so ridiculous they're actually really, really good. Something which really, really influences me is the work of an American video and film artist called Bruce Nauman, and kind of the way that he deals with things which are just opposites and they kind of rub against each other. So I wanted to do this yes versus no, just this thing, this polarized argument we have a lot, going back to what I said about, things like Zoom and Instagram and all the rest of it, and the kind of things that happen on there when people just have a go at each other. Just thought, well, this is it. It's just yes versus no, isn't it? Do you want to see some more bad choreography?
This one scares me.
What? This one?
This one gives me PTSD, actually. I'm just going to put my mic on a second, sorry. This one gives me PTSD.
Why?
Because I came home from school age 4, 5, 6 and 7, and it turned out to be school photograph day, and I'd ripped my shirt, or I'd got a black eye, or I'd got muck all over me. So I got complaints from my mum,
right,
who dragged me to a small town shopping centre photographer who made me pose in a weird jumper.
Really?
In pretty much like this kind of way.
Wow.
So yeah, it's freaking me out, man.
Oh man, that's incredible.
I tried to find them earlier in the attic. I'll show you them at some point.
I'd like to see those. Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah, this is me with a balloon with an X on it. X marks the spot, but it's all over the place because the balloon keeps flying everywhere. I'm trying to pin it down, trying to be elegant about it, and it's also, of course, it's a kind of football little analogy there, the old 4-4-2. All those things are important. They kind of give people something to hang their interpretation on, So people who like football will get into it, and people who like balloons will get into it. People who like dancing will get into it, and then people who've got PTSD about jumpers will get into it as well. Should I have a look at the next one?
Yes.
Yeah. So these were some of the first pieces of bad choreography I did, and the one in the top right is the one that you used for the promo for this event. It's me lying with the box on my head, or me
and Kev got in a box.
You did. Some of these things got quite dangerous. The ladder routine was quite dangerous because I did the classic thing where the ladder slid down the wall when I was on it.
Oh no!
Yeah, don't tell Catherine.
Oh, wash your fingers at the end.
Yeah, I did another one as well where I shouldn't really say this because people will just think I'm going mad, but I managed to get myself to the top of my studio wall, which is a partition wall, and there's a gap between there and the ceiling, and I managed to hang myself by my toes of my boots, and looked great, but it was really hard to get down afterwards. Look at the next one.
Yeah.
Next one's good. These ones are quite recent. I did about 200 of these. I made this gigantic black frame, and then I just I danced with it basically. And it's simple. This one, it's just what's in, what's out of the frame, what's breaking the frame. So I suppose it's a bit like drawing. It's a bit like performance. It's fun. It's a bit like dancing. Yeah, and then there's always something in there which makes you just go, what? And it's dropping my trousers in the frame. Yeah, and I think the last one is. Yeah, play this. This is good. So this is part of bad. It's got no sound on it, so we can just talk over this one. So I made some short films in the bad choreography sequence, massively influenced by silent movies. So Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, that kind of thing. And the sound's kind of implied. These two. It's like an argument. This one, they're screaming at each other. Well, he's screaming at the guy on the right, and the guy on the right is feeling a little bit overwhelmed. But of course, it's myself. I'm doing it to myself. Yeah. And then I think there's another one comes in a minute. Oh no, it's just this one. There's a whole series of these. If people go onto my website and then go to the Vimeo link, they'll find all of these. Yeah, I had a lot of fun making those silent movies. And then there's another part to the. One final part to the bad choreography. So this was something I did recently where I was in a transition between one set of work and another. I do this a lot in the studio. I'll have a period of time for maybe 2 months where I'm making sculptures or paintings and the room is an absolute tip. I'm kind of knee deep in detritus, bits of wood, paper, all kinds of ramble. I wonder if anybody will ask what that means. The word rammel. A bit of rammel. And then I clean it up, and then I'll spend another period of time just working purely with audio and samples, and then I clear it up. And then I'll do things which are kind of like this, where I'll just have an idea and then I'll run with it. And I kind of like this word stupid and what stupid meant, and just kind of posing with the different ideas of, I think it started with I'm with stupid. It's that classic T-shirt or something that people wear, isn't it? And then I kind of evolved it. But yeah, again, I'm kind of poking fun at myself sometimes. Self-depreciating. That's the word, isn't it? Yeah. Are you Googling ramble?
No.
Shall we move on down? Is that all right?
Yeah. Sorry, wait.
It's
on different.
I see. Okay, so we're into another section of my work now, and this again is a thing which is mostly about collaboration, and it's mostly about sharing, and it's entirely to do with what happened to everybody in 2020. So in 2020, when we all got told to stay at home, I was kind of just like, what the hell am I going to do? This is bonkers. I can't go to the studio. I'm not allowed to go out unless I'm just doing my daily exercise, whatever Boris told us to do. God almighty. Anyway, I kind of had this idea that I wanted to collaborate, I wanted to share, and I thought I was making these pieces of audio, and I talked to somebody and I said, what do you reckon to this as an idea? If I send you the stems, that just the raw sound files to this piece I've done, would you be interested in just making a remix, and then I'll make a film to go with it? Yeah, that sounds great. So anyway, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people on board with this.
Brilliant.
And we did this release called Own the Terrain and Anchor Yourself. And I kind of wanted something which pinned me down to some kind of sense of concreteness, because there was weird times, 2020, you know. That phrase actually, own the train and anchor yourself. Oh God, it was from a Twitter account, an incredible guy called James, I can't remember his second name, who was doing a lot of stuff which was about how we were surviving and things. He did a lot of stuff about post-Brexit as well, which was really interesting. So anyway, would you like to see some audio maps and listen to some?
Yes.
Because I'm very proud of this work. So this first one, this was a collaboration, and you'll see the details coming up. So play away. Yeah. So that was Dan Reed, and he worked with field recordings I sent him and some really basic bass notes, and he sent back this remix, which was astonishing. And I made this film using, when I decided with this batch, everything was going to be, I had a suitcase full of Super 8 film that I'd shot between about 87 and about 93. So I kind of refilmed and looped bits of Super 8. So this was me and a friend swimming in Padley Gorge. Just look at the next one. Yeah, we've got the next one. So this next one is a very different result of a collaboration on the Audio Maps project.
I'm going to say that right now. What would, if Muslims did it? If Muslims dropped 30,000 Muslims on the seat of government in the middle of the joint session of Congress and ran in there and there was blood on the floor and tear gas, what would we be saying? If you believe that we are all one people, you don't like the hyphenations. If you believe that we're all one country, if you won't believe in law and order, if you're against traitors, if you are for patriotism, there needs to be a uniform denunciation from top to bottom of the Republican Party. In the middle of a joint session of Congress and broke in. What would I say if Black Lives Matter did it? I'm going to say that right now. What would, if Muslims did it? If Muslims dropped 30,000 Muslims on the seat of government in the middle of the joint session of Congress and ran in there and there was blood on the floor and tear gas, what would we be saying? If you believe that we are...
So obviously, I think people know where kind of that context is from. That whole kind of bizarre stuff about what happened with Trump and everything. And yeah, I found that sample on a news report, and then again, this was stems that I'd kind of done with percussion stems and bass stems and some other samples and field recordings. And again, a different person. This is a guy called Simon Burns, who calls himself Grown Ass Man. Remixed this brilliant piece of audio to go with the film that I made, where I'm slapping myself around the face and stuff. So one more on this. So this is another collaboration in Audio Maps. Okay, so yeah, so that's just 3 examples. There's a lot on the Vimeo channel of various phases of these collaborations. And then the next few slides, Matt, if we just look at the next few, these were kind of... I can't and don't make albums as such. I haven't got the finances to do. I would love to, but I always design the stuff for my Bandcamp as if it's an LP cover. So these things are basically, that's what they are. So this was for one of the collaborative releases called 7 Songs. The next one is for testing times. 2021 was quite testing. And then the next one was Follow the Leader by Audio Maps. I think within my Audio Maps stuff and my sound work and my film work, there's some quite strong social commentary comes through, a lot of kind of political debate, if you like, or at least me kind of being quite critical of things, but in a very kind of coded way. Yeah, in a coded way. So next few are going to be painting. I paint as well. So should we look at some paintings? Okay. So these paintings are enormous. They're close to 3 meters square. They're about 2 meters 70, something like that. And yeah, they're bigger than me. And they are on all kinds of different surfaces. So this one is called Payne's Grey Vertical Drag Yellow Dot. This has got quite an abstract title, actually. It's quite painterly. It's very much about that range of colours. It's about kind of edges and gestures, and I think this kind of has everything to do with drawings and the photographs and the double exposures and everything like that. So it's using the same kind of language but using different tools to get there. So have a look at the next one. This one's about 3 meters across, and it has an old table, it has an old notice board, it has a section of snooker table, the slate, and then it has other bits and bobs I've found, and then things like acrylic paint, household paint, varnish, and other found objects. And the middle section weighs an absolute ton because that bit of slate's really heavy. So yeah, next one. This one's actually really beautiful for me. I don't do that many really, really beautiful things, but I love this one. I think from a colour point of view, it works particularly well. And all the little kind of shapes, they're like little jewels. They're like remembered fragments, really. You know, when you're looking through the window on the upper deck of a bus and it's raining and things kind of come in and out of focus, it kind of makes me think of that. You see little fragments of things. Yeah.
Which is very evocative anyway.
Yeah.
You're doing that at
yeah.
night.
I'm going to do that as the next film, actually, I think. I'll do that. Next one. Another giant one. This one, Matt, won a prize. Prize-winning artist, nonetheless. Yeah. Again, 2 meters 70 odd square. The bottom left panel takes 2 people to carry because it's cast concrete. It's really impractical. This one's got all kinds of things. This one's called Abacus X Metal Grid Empire Rib Landscape with Cast Forms. It's got an abacus in it. It's got those little round things in the top right. They're ceramic pot lids from the science department, but they stopped using those in 1960, and they're going to throw them away, so I need them. And then I found some other bits. So the middle row, left-hand panel, those metal things, I think they were kind of some covers in a factory in Attercliffe originally. You know, I don't know what the job they did.
How heavy is it then in total?
I'm glad it breaks into 9 parts, put it that way. Yeah, and for storage reasons, yeah. Next one. I'm starting to come off the wall a bit with them now. So they're becoming more like sculptures, and they're getting cheekier and cheekier. And they're kind of inviting the audience to perhaps touch things and walk around them, or maybe get really frustrated with them because they don't know really what they are. But they are... I think they're welcoming, they're engaging, they're playful. You know, it's got a chair, it's got an old bag, it's got a table on its end, but there's some very considered things in there. You know, like little precise little marks and gestures and things. It's, I really like this one. Again, this is massive. It's 3 meters across. It's huge. And again, it's a good job it breaks down into small parts because it's impossible to carry otherwise. And that one's called, that's just got a good title, It's called Drop Leaf Upended White X Unseated Bag Stump Diagram Breath. It's almost like a poem, isn't it?
You'd ever need.
Yeah, in one container. So there's a little film to show now. It's about painting. It doesn't last long.
Yeah.
We'll play this. It's got sound on it. Painting, not painting. Drawing, not drawing. Sculpture, not sculpture. Art, not art. There you go. That's that one done. So, are we back on? Yeah. So, yeah, that was me questioning the very nature of what I do. Art, not art. So, the last thing I'm going to show is the most recent thing I've made. It's called Blast. So, do you want some historical context?
Yes.
Right, next slide. Show that one. So, historical context time coming up, folks. So, there was this artist called Wyndham Lewis about 120 years ago, 110 years ago, 1913-14. And Wyndham Lewis was the leader of a group of artists in Britain, well, mostly London, to be honest, called the Vorticists. And they were kind of the equivalent, if you like, of the Cubists or the Futurists or the Constructivists, all those kind of isms that happened at that time. And we know why they happened, because there was big wars and lots of revolutions and stuff, and the whole world was up and down. And so artists were part of that revolution. But Wyndham Lewis was particularly English, and he wrote this manifesto, which was basically having a go at everyone. But it was very funny. And so this is a page from the manifesto. I really apologise for any French people out there. I know there's a few in
yeah, Sandra's Parisian.
Oh, right. I'm really sorry, Sandra. Well, there's a few people living in Guichon, just south of Rennes. So Dom and Claire and Rowan, I know you're watching this and you're thinking, what's he doing? Sentimental Gallic gush, sensationalism, fussiness, Parisian parochialism. So anyway, Wyndham Lewis was having a go at everyone, because what he was trying to do was kind of just literally get the apple cart and turn it upside down and just look at a new way of doing things. He was really he was anti-government, he was anti-royalty, he was anti-kind of establishment. He was very much about the kind of everyday person. He would have probably called it the everyday man, but it's the everyday person, really. And yeah, I kind of like this word on the left there. Let us once more wear the ermine of the north.
Yeah, I think we should all.
Yeah.
Probably not, actually. But
yeah, I don't know what the useful little chemist in our midst is, but I just like the language. Anyway, I made some films that were kind of me saying to myself, I wonder what Wyndham Lewis would have done with Instagram. That was what I'd set myself to do. So I'm going to play you 2 short films. There are 13 of them altogether. You can see them on the Vimeo channel, but I thought I'd play you these 2 because these are the 2 I quite like. So we'll just play each one and then maybe let's talk afterwards, yeah?
yes.
Is that all right?
Of course.
Go for the first one. It's got good sound on this one. So
Let's go for that.
quote. It's from the Enigma of Casper Hall. So, 10 points for anyone who knows where that sample came from. Let's see if anyone puts that in the chat. Should we move on to the next one? Yeah. So this one, for all of you nationalists out there.
Fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, 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 fuckity fuck, fuck, fuckity fuck.
We're back on. We're back in the room. So that's all the things I wanted to show and play people and things. You know what? There's so much I could kind of say, but we've been on for quite a while already, haven't we? So excellent.
Thank you all so much for coming. Any last questions for Stephen? Thank you so much.
Hey, it's
for
been
and doing
honestly
this.
Pleasure, Matt. It's been a
Brilliant.
lot of fun.
Let's go to bed. I
Okay.
reckon.
All right.
I mean, I'm not saying.
Yeah.
Not to us.
You've given our secret away, mate.
Right. Good night, all of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Cheers.
See you later, and cheersy later. Cheers to you.
Adios.